Hello, friends. We are back to painting. I am doing these live streams. We're going to be doing it fully vertical again, where you probably won't be able to see me, and I probably won't be able to share as much FaceTime, but we get to paint. But this is a interactive live stream painting that we get to chat and paint at the same time. So I guess most social events that require painting are probably done in a sip and paint, but fortunately, if you're at home and you just feel like watching something relaxing or something that relaxes the soul and you just want to check out some painting, this is the place to stop by. So here's a painting I'm currently working on. And part of my goal is to keep this painting fairly loose. So my previous painting, which is, pop this down. So my previous painting, which is this painting right here, it's a bit tight. There's a lot of things that are kind of tight about it. But we're going to do another painting that is less, how should we say, tight as in, a lot of very tight details. So we're going to do something a little less so, and that's where we have this painting. So we're going to swap it out here right now. Swap these two paintings out so that we can have the full space to work with this painting right here. And I guess it's probably late for some people. But I am very happy with how this painting actually came out. So I'm not going to do the same style though. Who knows how these paintings will change as we go. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to take a nice small brush, and I think we're just going to work on building up color detail with this one brush here. So let's just start and get into this. I'm going to experiment. I'm just going to do a painting that just has one brush. And that's how we're going to do this. Just one brush. I'm just going to slowly build on top of everything. So let's start with this red here. And we're going to build around. So I'm just going to paint into our shadow, starting right here. So keep it fairly loose. And just using nice small brush strokes. So again, this isn't going to be my usual way of painting. I am trying something different. Like I've already got the big pieces blocked out, so no matter what, it's pretty much going to turn out a certain way. And before we get any further, I do want to show this last painting. So I'm going to share some of the differences. So this is the last painting that we finished via our live stream, and you can watch the previous videos. I don't really do like tutorials step by step, but you can see pretty much everything I do. And I will say I was really happy with this, but the way that this ended up, so the actual way that this was painted is actually by mistake, to be honest with you. So I was watching an Instagram video, and I saw an artist named Lo Chan Pang. So he's a Chinese artist, I believe, LoChanPeng. And he had this really distinct style where he would just use really tiny brush strokes. He used a really, really tiny brush, and he just made mark by mark by mark, and he would do these really really beautiful portraits, just mark by mark by mark. So I decided to take that idea and try it rather than doing just, I used a bit of a bigger brush, but I tried to create this like overall view using smaller brush strokes. And I really liked how it turned out because it created this like texture across the painting that's quite interesting. So we're going to go for something similar to that, but not exactly. We're going to go for something similar in the sense that I'm going to be working with these like really small brush strokes, but I'm not going to exactly going to go for the whole as detailed as the last one. I'm not going to go as detailed as that. We're going to stick with something a bit looser and see what we come up with. I know that's not exactly what that's not something that Bob Ross would say. Let's just see what we can come up with. But this is a fun way to experiment with ideas, I find. So really experimenting with various ideas and just building color using this technique of just laying down small brush strokes piece by piece and just finding out, discovering what comes of it. And the great thing about oil paints is no matter where you are with your oil paint, you can always there's always a time with oil painting that you can kind of like just go back into it and fix things, fix ideas, fix things that you feel like were kind of messed up. There's always a good time to go back into your painting, even months later, years later, weeks later, days later, hours, however much time you need to finish a painting, you can pretty much take. Now, obviously, if you want to be a working professional artist, there's more factors to take into consideration. Like, efficiency is pretty important when you're a artist that's just really getting started, or you have commissions, or you work for like a company that needs like video game art or something. But for the most part, I think if you're looking to be a fine artist, you can spend as much time as you need to create the masterpiece that you need to create. So just some ideas there. But let's go right here. We're going to continue building out these shadows. I love using this dark ochre for our piece here. So we're going to go a couple of shadows right here. Some lighter shadows. And then some lighter shadows that are going to come down into here. And really just playing with this idea of, I really love the idea that I picked up from Lo Chan-Pang, is this idea of using smaller brush strokes to capture the detail rather than really just filling large spaces with a specific color. So I'm playing with something. We are playing now. We are having fun. We are experimenting, doing things not differently. I wouldn't say that this is a thing that's never been done before or is totally different, but something that we're not totally comfortable with. So we're challenging ourselves to do something different. And the reason why this is different for me, I would say, is I tend to be a lot like crazier. What's up, Slay Queen 223? How's it going? Hello, welcome. The reason why this is a little different for me is I really like to just like do really, just wild paintings, just throw my hand into it. But I want to pull myself back. I feel the need to pull myself back a little bit and go with a technique that might be a bit more slow paced. And sadly, if you're watching this, it might feel like watching paint dry, but at least hopefully I can entertain you along the way. So going through here, we're gonna go into here and add some of this shadow into this space right here. And I like how this is turning out. So we're gonna go bring in our white here. And we're just gonna add in some details here into our piece. And then here we go. So let's cover some larger areas of space here. So we're going to go boom, 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 boom. Create this defined texture. Create something different, you know? Something different and fun to look at. So this area is pretty flat, so it's okay if we just do these post-impressionist style, post-impressionist style brush strokes and just build up the colors with this. So right now, this is a technique used by a lot of French artists in the mid 1800s. Is really just most people know Vincent van Gogh as the main artist that would use this style of just like tightly close and tight brush strokes in certain directions, right? The single brush stroke or whatever that people recognize. But it was really a lot of impressionists that did it. Toulouse-Lautrec, I think Matisse, a lot of artists from those days kind of bounced ideas from each other. So I'm really just adopting this idea of using these strokes here. Now the only thing is one thing that was noted, so a lot of it was like adapted from Japanese style art. So Japanese style art was known in those times for its flatness. So if you ever look at like old Japanese style art, you'll see that the characters are very flat. They don't really have a lot of like dimension. You know, there's no shadow. It's not the traditional classical style of Europe. That, you know, you can see like the separation in detail between the nose and the hands and just the super fine detail. The style was much different. It was much flatter, a flatter painting style. So I think a lot of impressionists adopted that, from my understanding. They adopted that idea of going with the flat painting, focusing on color and beauty, rather than necessarily, rather than like form and dimension. Rather than creating an illusion of 3D, Impressionists really made it about creating the painting and the overall, focusing on the overall beauty of a painting itself. So that's what we're going to work on. We're going to just try something with a lot of individual brush strokes, but not necessarily a dimensional element. I still want to be able to capture some dimension, but that's not my priority with this painting. And then here we go. So we can mix this in right into here. And we'll see how this turns out. Actually, I have no clue how this is going to look. So we will find out together. Now let's go. Let's bring this in, and we're going to do this other cap over here, this cap of this guy right here. Just want to fill this canvas with paint. That's the goal. That is our purpose here. Okay, let's grab some of this this ochre again. We're going to do the same thing down here that we did to the top piece, because these are pretty much the same heads. So bring some of this down. And here we go. So we're going to keep building up. Happy Saturday, everyone. I know a lot of people are probably out and about on a Saturday. But if you happen to be remaining in, great of you to stop by. But here we go. Painting on a Saturday night, is that instead of going out, is that too cool? Or is it too uncool? So here we go. Going for something a little bit looser this time. And let's see. So we're going to go and bring this down. All right. Let's take, actually we're going to grab some of our purple blue that we made. Grab some of this white here, lighten it up. Nice light purple. So everything that's pretty much hair we're going to go into, and we're just going to go, actually going to bring this up a bit. Have some more of this paint. I'm gonna just design this hair a bit. Well, not a bit, we're gonna design it quite a lot, actually. So I'm gonna go around and up. You know, if you're starting painting later in life, as far as art is concerned, you know, I think older artists, I see a lot of YouTube videos that are like, is it too, or Reddit questions like, is it too old to like start drawing again? Am I too old to start painting again? And although I never really write my answer to those questions, I think older people, and by older, I mean if you're above the age of 25, the older, the more, you know, like I'm not defining if you're above the age of 25 that you're old. I'm not saying that. But usually these questions are asked by people that are like literally in their 30s, like still so young, where anybody who's like over the age of 30 is instantly like, yeah, of course you could try something new or something that you used to love in your 30s. Like, of course, that's obvious. But a lot of these questions come from people in that, I think, the age group, like 30s, 40s. And, you know, it almost seems obvious, like that's really young, but people are still asking questions. And when I think about that question, I think getting started later is such a huge advantage because you realize that at some level you got a lot of catching up to do. There's a lot of catching up to do, and when you have that pressure, I think there's something that comes with that territory in the sense of effort, the amount of effort that you put into your work, and the amount of practice that you can aim to commit for yourself becomes an advantage. Whereas, you know, if you're younger, I think the dilemma is that you have so much options. So what do y'all think? Hey, what's up, Ace? How you doing? What's going on, Ace? What's the latest? How are you doing today? What is your thoughts on getting into art later in life? And by later in life, I mean that could range from anywhere from over the age of 25 to, you know, 30, 40, 50. That's a wide range of years, but I think the majority of people asking that question about getting into art later are usually in those age groups. They're actually fairly young, but, you know, it's kind of scary when you're surrounded by amazing artists that are much younger than you. So, doing good. Just stumbled across my stream while streaming. You're streaming too? Oh, scrolling. Cool. Yeah, well, thank you for stopping by. It is very much appreciated because I realized that there are probably 100,000 different things that you would be interested in watching right now on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Netflix, that you could be watching right now, but for whatever reason you decided to tune in here. And yes, somehow we have been connected through interest and personality. So what we're working on right now is a painting with a different style that I'm used to. What I usually do is I kind of just do a really flat, just do like really flat colors. But right now, this time I'm working with this style of building up colors and design using like an impressionist / post-impressionist brush style. But thanks so much for the compliment. I really appreciate that. Thanks for taking a look. Thanks for jumping in. Thanks for sharing your thoughts with the world, because that is ultimately who we are communicating with, right? The world. Anybody can find this video. Anybody who has access to YouTube can essentially find this video. And it is pretty fascinating. So, anyway, I'm going for less dimension on this painting. I've decided that compared to my previous painting, you know, compared to my previous painting, I'm going to go for something less focused on like realistic dimensions, you know, shadow and light, and I'm gonna go for more of like a color play with brushes with thick paint. So I'm doing something a little different. But also, I don't know how many hours I'm gonna paint. It's a little later than usual. I really would have liked to paint earlier, but I was so exhausted from my half day of work that I just felt like I had to take a nap. And then once I took a nap, my goodness, I've had a lot of challenges lately. A lot of obstacles in life, and I think that's one thing that I'm very fortunate with painting is some people don't have an outlet. Like they could have all these issues and like have all this stress and like they don't really have an outlet other than like, video games is an outlet, but an outlet that can kind of just like free your mind and allow it to just kind of play, that allows you to kind of escape through flow, like an actual like natural flow state of being so engaged in some activity that you just time gets lost. And I found out with painting, and I have that fortunately, but some people don't. So it's midnight for you, so you're on the East Coast. Alexa, what time is it?
It's 9:01 p.m.
9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, midnight. All right. I think the art is super cool. You normally just draw. You're no way. Well, if you normally draw, then no one expects you to be good at painting. But I will say though, and this has been repeated time and time again, if you can get good at drawing, you can get good at painting. And I think that rule holds to an extent. It's not totally true, but there is some truth to it. And where I think the real gap is that when learning how to apply color, learning how to apply color properly. That's where the only gap is. Because you can get the form, you can get the shape, you can get the design. If you can draw. And then from there, all you really need to do is learn how to apply color in an interesting way. And then you just have to kind of like find your voice. You just have to find your voice. So I'm going to bring out some of this ultramarine blue. I already got some ultramarine blue. I think what I need is this vibrant red here. It is a Azo red medium. Azo red medium. Gonna pop down some white. Lay down some white here. And so Azo, are you a night owl? Are you coming home from a wild night out, or is there just not much to do in your city and you wanted to just come check this out? Tell us. Share your story. Tell us about yourself. So I'm going for thicker paint application, and the reason why I'm continuing to paint over this section quite a lot is because I don't see enough of a separation of my colors. So I'm trying to build that out. So I'm really just trying to build out some more colors here. let's see. So we'll go to another character now. We'll actually go to this character. We can do this for almost all the hair. We're going to try to keep it consistent all the way around, all these different colors. Northern Falcon, what's going on? Must be late where you're, or I guess it's you're in India, right? Or Pakistan? India or Pakistan, I can't remember. But it must be fairly late where you're at. So we're gonna go like this. We're gonna bring out some nice colors around this way. Bring in some highlights right here. That's a horse. Yes, those are horses. We're going to be painting these horses. And Northern, what do you think? So what do you think? Should I stick? I don't know if you, I haven't seen you in my live streams with the horizontal streaming. So, you know, my guess is that you actually prefer this way. But, you know, I changed it because of one of the other viewers, Mark. He's like, you know, I would really like to see it as a horizontal. But I lost so much viewers. And, you know, I know we shouldn't just paint just for the views. I know that's like taboo. You shouldn't really do that. But, you know, part of my channel is about obviously painting for people to see. So we're gonna go with this hair right here. Actually, this guy's got some hair that we need to do too. So we're gonna curve around. I'm gonna go into here. Let's get some hair right here. So you prefer it this way too? All right, you've gotten back into 3D modeling. Great to hear, my friend. Great to hear. So important to keep that up. As long as, you know, you're enjoying it. I'm listening to this great book. It's called Mastery by Robert Greene. I don't know if you've ever heard of the book. But basically he talks about how a lot of successful artists, entrepreneurs, a lot of business people, scientists, how they all came up with some of their greatest ideas and how they became known for the masters that they are. And I find that book really interesting because it gives a lot of really interesting stories and anecdotes about how you can become a master of pretty much any craft. And the main idea is that, like, the main secret for mastering things is time. Putting lots of time into something that you want to get very good at. And although it sounds very simple, I think the execution is what stops people. But more importantly, especially today, you know, I think we watch so many people watch like sped up videos. Like, you know, they'll watch a painting, and it looks like it takes 30 seconds because they watched a YouTube reel that shows like a painting that took 12 hours in like 60 seconds, and they have this confusion. I'm not saying they're confused. Everybody knows the difference, but mentally, you know, our minds really need to learn how to filter that, especially if you're young. It might be more difficult. But anyway, looks fine. Glad you finally got back into modeling. Been searching for job options after school related to 3D modeling. Definitely going to develop the skill and do it as a part-time job. Yeah, for sure. Dude, so many opportunities for 3D modeling. Even if you don't come up with anything like super brilliant. And what I mean by that is, I think we talked about this before. So before I got into physical art, I was digital painting. And one of my best-selling products was a really simple set of pictures on artstation.com. I used to sell stuff on their marketplace. And what was really interesting about that is there's also so many 3D modeling things that are on there that people just sell. Like, they sell like a simple 3D model of a woman, a simple 3D model of a man, like just these really simple 3D models of things. And it was kind of cool to just see all the different products that were being offered, and they weren't like complex models either. They were probably really simple, and I feel like if you can do 3D modeling, you can really establish you could really do it easy, have a good easy time of establishing a variety of products that you can offer to people that people want and need. So I saw this Reddit post the other day, and I don't know if you ever played a video game called Destiny, but basically they were comparing Destiny 2. So some of the images and the icons on Destiny 2 were basically just reused that were licensed from some smaller distributor or content creator. It was basically just licensed from somebody else, and they just barely changed the design element of the pieces, of the little icons. But you know what? Like, even big companies, I think the most interesting thing was that, you know, this idea that even these big companies, Bungie, you know, the creators of Halo, are using pre-created assets that some artist somewhere made. So I need to add some more depth into this hair right here. So we're gonna go. But yes, let's see. It definitely depends on current trends. The popular trend for 3D modeling is game assets like buildings, interior design, military. Yep. Yes, yes. Yes, yes, and yes. So let's go down here. We're going to go ahead and build. Yeah, there's a lot of video game people just looking, trying to create indie video games that need assets. And honestly, I probably would have tried to create some 3D assets, but 3D modeling, the way it's done on Blender, was just not for me. It was not for me. I prefer painting. Have you ever heard of an artist called Beeple Crap? So it's Beeplecrap. He's an amazing 3D artist, incredibly talented, and he's supposedly done a new. He's done one 3D piece of art every day for like the past 16 years or something like that. Pretty amazing work. I very much like his work. So we're going to go with the dark blue here as we transition into shadow. But you know a lot. All right, so People Crap, he sold his NFTs for like $14 million when him and some company teamed up to sell his work as NFTs, and he made about $14 million from that. But he's worth knowing. He does a really interesting work. A lot of it's like political comedy. But the reason why I even knew about him was because I had a friend who's no longer my friend, but I had a friend whose boyfriend supposedly was being mentored by him. And when he was mentored by him, the advice that he gave him was literally just make something every single day. And that's how you get good at something. That was his only advice. Just make something every single day. And although I think that's easier for some people, she was saying how he improved really quickly just by making something every single day. And that was kind of inspirational to me because I was like, oh, you know, there is so much truth to that. And that it seems like such a simple idea, but very hard to execute. But imagine if someone like told you, like, you could be good at anything, you just have to try to do it at least once every single day. Like, sounds easy enough. Like today, I was like, you know, I need to go meditate. I need to go read a book. I need to meditate. I need to find some answers from the ether. And, you know, I'm being honest here. I'm sharing some personal ideas here about like motivation and everything. So, you know, this afternoon I was really thinking, you know, I've been having some troubles lately, and I was really thinking like, you know, I need to meditate. I need to magically find some answers from the ether, from space or wherever. And I was trying to seek this answer, and, you know, I came to this conclusion that, you know, what if the answer is as simple as I need to just paint? That's it. And you know what? Like, part of my mind was like, no, that can't be the answer. It's not that simple. Things are so much harder than, you know, what if, whatever. Like, all these, like, doubts, all these notions, all these ideas, like, kind of just manifested. And I was like, no, it can't just be pain. That's not going to solve my problems. And maybe it doesn't solve my problems, but, you know, there's all these things. Like, I was trying to seek some answer for something else. And I think the truth of it was me just procrastinating, trying to find that answer. And I'm not trying to say that, you know, painting is the answer to life's biggest problems, but I will say that that it did help for me to handle my own problems. So anyway, I got some of the hair done. Got some of the hair done here. And now, what are we going to use for some of these facial shadows? I'm going to go with a dark purple here. Let's darken some of these features. I'm going to get like a nice dark brown purple color, the red ochre. Some nice dark shadows here, right around the neck. That's where we're going to focus these. Let's see how this looks. Maybe a bit darker, bring in some more of this black. Lined up just a little bit. Bam. Black and white. Lined up just a bit. A little bit too light. It's a very I call this like a muddy purple. Alright, so let's go into our shadows here, and we're going to add this color in. So, painted things very flat here. Much flatter than usual. And let's see, we're going to go... This will be for the shadows of the body. Let's start with this guy. This fella. Let's start with this fella here. And let's go right into here. We're going to go bring this down. Now, I start to get this idea that this style of painting with these individual brush strokes isn't really designed for very detailed form work. And what I mean by form work is like the 3D-ness. So trying to capture like a separation of like light and dark. It's not really designed for that. But, we'll see. Maybe we will come up with something unique and interesting. And basically, I already did this sketch, so now I'm just kind of painting over it. Alright, so we're going to throw in these structures into the eyebrows here. Let's go like bam, 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 bam. My Takehiko Inoue. I was thinking when I did just this main sketch by itself, I felt like the sketch was very Metal Gear Solid. Not Metal Gear Solid. That's not a good example because Metal Gear Solid is way more complex as far as the design goes for their concept art. But I was gonna say it felt very Asian, like classical Asian, just very brushy, classical Chinese, Japanese, like the very brushy effect. And I kind of like it, but that's not my style, and it doesn't feel complete to me. Or it's not my current style. So I'm opting for continuing to build on top of that. So, but thank you. I'm guessing Takehiko Inoue is a very good artist. I can only hope that you're comparing me to someone who's very good. If not, that's cool too. I love criticism, feedback. I enjoy a good troll once in a while. But a positive troll, not a totally harmful, evil troll. A good troll is funny, a bad troll has no life. Or a bad troll needs to get a life. And you know what? I think I could actually mix in some black with this. Just to give it a little bit of a darker effect. Make it a little bit darker here. And Takehiko. So let's go here, and we're actually going to take this color and go right into this figure. Go along the edge shadows here. And we're just going to build this color like pretty much all the way in here. I think I can pretty much curve this. That is the other thing about this style is that can easily lose a lot of detail. Yeah, I definitely am enjoying how some of these like brush effects turned out. But the thing about this style right here, the reason why I'm not just sticking with it, I probably could just leave this painting as is, like just with this stuff. But I feel like it's very I mean, things are as complete as you call them, right? Like, if I was to say it's complete, then, you know, as an artist, that would have been my choice, and I would call it complete. But it doesn't feel complete to me. So I definitely feel as if more work needs to be added. Which is why I'm not just gonna leave it as is. I think this space is going to come out pretty wacky. But we will see. So you got school today, Falcon? You got school or what? When's school start or whatever? Are you graduated yet? I don't know. What's going on in your world? what is happening in that universe. Okay, so this head looks tilted and it's bothering me, but we're gonna go in the ear right there. So here we go. We're gonna keep playing with these shadows. Your exams are approaching. You've been studying a lot. Awesome. Nice, nice. So once your exams are done, what does that mean? Like, are you off to university, or are you gonna become are you off to becoming a lawyer? What does that mean? What does it mean? What does it all mean? Ah, here we go. So I need a little bit more of this into here, into this head. I almost forgot. Turn off this air conditioning. It's a bit chilly. Oh. All right, let's see. Building up the colors. Not sure if I'll keep with this style long term, but I do think that this style is good to play with. Let's see, how can we get this nose here? And then down there. Darken the eyelashes. Boom. still got only a year more. All right, but 11th, I think the 11th, that's a good year. The 11th grade is a great year because once you get into senior year, you pretty much, I mean, I don't know if it's the same where you live, but I think once you get into senior year, it's pretty much just like up, and away, right? Like, basically, you've already done all the important tests and everything, so all you got to do from here is just kind of not screw up, not totally screw up in your senior year, and you're gold, dude. You're as good as gold. You're set. Your life is set. All right. So we're actually going to go into here. I'm going to create the shadow effect. And let's see, let's build up with this color. Doesn't stand out too much against the black, but it's okay. I think the goal is ultimately just to have like a consistency in the painting texture. And you know what? It kind of looks cool because it's because you can just barely see that it's red. And I guess it kind of does make sense if it's red in that shadow. These 2 years? Yeah, okay. That's good. Busy is good. Yeah, maybe I don't know exactly where you live, but I guess in the US, I think a senior year you basically have a couple tests, but you've already taken almost all the important tests by the time the majority of the important tests by the time senior year comes around, year 12. And then fortunately, by the time year 12 comes around, you're pretty much ready for stuff. So I think this one, I'm just going to swap back between red and brown. This ochre and brown here. Let me go into this. Here we go. Hey, take care, Northern. Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you, and wish you the best. Wish you great things. I'm probably almost done too. Grab some more of this. We're going to go around. And here we go. All right. So we're getting some interesting looks here. Very different than our last piece. Much flatter design. Actually, I think right now is a good time for calling it a night on this one. It's been a few hours. You know what I think I can also do that I haven't done is I think I could take just a big chunk of this color and kind of just like lay it down here. Just lay it in here and then work the space as I go. I think that's kind of like work it like a working more like a sculpting rather than a painting. Let's go for that. Let's go for this effect here. Yeah, there we go. You sculpt the paint. Saves time too, so that you're not dealing with, so that you're focused more on the actual brush strokes rather than so you're focused on brush stroke rather than constantly picking up the paint. Now you will have really thick layers of paint this way, and it could create a messy look, which is why, you know, this might not be the best. These might not be the best models to use for this because it does focus on very dark and dramatic shadows, which, you know, if you're not using the shadows, then you really got to know the color of the space that you are painting. And this area just doesn't really feel natural, but it's okay. We'll make it work. We will figure it out. All right, let's clean off this brush. I'm going to call this a night for now. Do another little rinse of it. Some oil. And I absolutely love this brush. And as we wrap things up, I hope you all had a chance to enjoy this live stream. I actually like doing this vertical format, and I think I'm gonna end up sticking with this. All right, and with that, we're gonna call this a wrap, but take care and good night, everybody. Thanks for stopping in.